everybody. Welcome back to the Danger Planet. Today, we are talking about...
Orange people eaters?
No, the 10 Thunders models from Ashes of Malifaux. All 6 of them.
The 6 Thunders.
I was going to say, we don't have 10.
The 6 Thunders. Man, oh boy. Welcome, everybody. Today I'm joined by Doug and Landon, the 2 10 Thunderous models people that I know. We are talking about all 6 of these models because there are only 6 orange models in this book, which is wild. We're just...
One of them's a summon.
And one of them's a summon. Talk about some real Dark and Chi here. Am I right? Satsui. Let's move on. No, I don't know. Is there a better conflagration? Talk about a conflagration. Talk about what Wyrd did to 10 Thunders in this book. Jeez. You'd think that, they were going to exploit a vulnerability, but, they really did. Looks like 10 Thunders seems a little insignificant by Wyrd standards. Okay.
I'm going to give you a warning growl on those.
I'm not sure.
Guys, this is too many bad puns. This is too much. I can't deal with this.
The song's not all about you.
If we're going to do this,
okay?
I need to leave.
Read the room.
I can't read.
Oh, no. Okay.
Finally, a worthy opponent.
Oh, man. This is all going in. I don't even care. Welcome back. Sorry.
We have to fill it. Guys, there's only 6 10 Thunders models. We have to fill time somehow. We're sorry.
Yeah, everyone will be mad if this video is just like 40 whole minutes shorter than every other one. So, welcome to... This is what you make us do, Wyrd. When you only put 6 models in the book, we have to do puns for 12 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Me and my...
There's no other reason. There's literally no other reason, and it would have never otherwise happened.
Yeah, me and my shadow clone. All right. So, obviously, there are a lot of models that you could hire in 10 Thunders Crews. We're only talking about the actual orange cards in this book now. For the rest of the stuff, you'll look for the model's actual faction. And we talked about it there. But I guess without any ado, let's get started with Sen. The first 2 models are from the Honey Pot and Qian Gong keywords, which is, of course, Jacob Lynch and Yoko. So Sen is a 7-stone enforcer that's 5s across the board and 7 health. She's got Reading the Room, so during the start phase, this model either gains a Brilliance or a Favor token, and when a friendly model in line of sight would discard a Pass token, it can instead discard a Favor token from this model. So you can use that for plus flips for leverage. I don't know what else that would do. Landon, is there anything I'm thinking of? Doug? No?
For pass tokens, right? You can also use it for K.O.T.O's thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you can use it for Yoko 2's ability to hand out Distracted.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple things you can do with it. She also has Rig the Deck 1, so at the start of her activation, she draws a card, puts a card back. She has Serene Countenance, so you're always at a negative to attack her. And then Siren Song, enemy models with an aura 6 have a -1 to willpower duels generated by tactical actions, which is a weird ability, totally, but that's a thing.
When you see her buddy, it makes sense.
Yeah. So she's got a 1-inch stat 6
in both the crews that it's in.
Yeah, it makes sense in those crews, but I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird ability. Otherwise, it's like hard to pin down exactly what it does. So she's got Sharp Wit, which is an attack that does slow at stat 6 against willpower. It's fine. There's a trigger to make it do 2 damage as well. Beckoning Call, which is move the target's move towards a friendly model in its line of sight. It is worth noting specifically that when the ability is talking about a friendly model in its line of sight, it is talking about your model specifically, not your opponent's models if you do it on an opponent's model. Landon,
model friendly to Sen, yes.
A model friendly to Sen, not a friendly model to the model that you're attacking. It's a thing you should know if you play Rezzers, I guess, because Hat Company has it, as do someone else. But so it's stat... Chiaki, yeah, sure. That's a model people play. Stat 6, attack against willpower, you need a 12. It's got a built-in trigger for the light inside, which lets the target gain brilliance equal to the masks in the final duel total, which is uncapped. So on this enforcer, it could be 2, which is probably not bad, I guess. I don't know. And then Visions of Glamour to pulse out Distracted, because that is just White Rabbit Ko's thing. I don't know. She has another attack called This Song's All About You, where it's 5 against willpower, and the target can pitch up to may discard up to 2 cards. For each card that it did not discard, it takes a damage and gains a Distracted, with another Love Hurts trigger for +2 damage. And then lastly, her bonus action, which needs a 7, is draw up to 2 non-Joker cards from your discard pile with a combined value of 8 or less, which is not great. The built-in trigger lets K.O.T.O move 3 inches towards Sen, and then there's a mass trigger for reposition. So obviously, there's a bunch of stuff that references K.O.T.O here, or that is good for K.O.T.O. But for now, Sen, what do we think? 7-stone Enforcer, Landon?
I'm super high on this model for like Lynch, and it's like okay for Yoko. I don't hate it for Yoko. Beckoning Call is like a really cool action that I don't get to talk about how much I love enough, because it's just not printed on very many models.
I completely agree. It's a really good ability.
But like there's like a hierarchy of actions Landon overly rates because he doesn't get to play with them enough. And Beckoning Call is like 3 on that list if Toss is number 1.
Yeah, so it's good, but it's not good. It's just what do you call it there? You have nostalgia for this action?
No, this action is just really good. It lets you play terribly and sloppy and make mistakes and still just win games because you can put your models in the right spot just by beckoning calling them twice with your 12-inch range.
I don't disagree.
And like in Lynch, you get to load up with Brilliance tokens to get extra Brilliance tokens for like delirium or extra pushes off of your deliriums. Or like just extra pushes on your opponents or damage for the deliriums from like Lynch 2 or Tannin. It lets you bring people into Tannin bubbles. Like, that's pretty neat. You could already do that with Lures, mind you, but like this is Beckoner Plus, and I already liked Beckoner, so the upgrade of Lure to Beckoning Call is just so good. It lets you set up for like alphas or better unpacks for like Yoko 1 or like just Lynch himself. Because it lets you move your guys forward during your unpack. If you just have someone already further forward. Like, I'm a big fan. And then Aces and Eights obviously is a really good action in the context of Rig the Deck, where it just essentially adds 2 to your hand and eventually those cards will be good. It's probably what you're using her Rig the Deck +1 on most turns with this model, because if you have to cheat Aces and Eights, it's obviously contextually much worse. But like if you need to drop that big card for This Song's All About You or Beckoning Call, like you'll rig with that too. Yeah, The Song About You is okay. Like it's always going to be the worst of the two, but I don't ever hate it if I win a duel and my opponent discards 2 cards or gains distracted. Like it's not going to be great in the context of like if you hit a Scheme Runner, he's always going to be like, okay, I'll take Distracted. This model's never taking an attack anyways, right? But it's fine for 7 stones. Like attack that's sometimes going to be a really painful choice for my opponents is nice. And then Sharp Wit is just contextually pretty decent for the GG. It's never my plan A, but like on a plan D or something where she's jammed up and I don't have anything to Beckoning Call, like, okay.
Yeah, or if you have a high tome, I mean, if you're doing 2 damage and slow, that's not the worst. Doug, what do you think? Sen?
Oh, I did forget to mention Siren Song. The 2 things that it hits that are particularly relevant. K.O.T.O has one that we're going to talk about when we talk about K.O.T.O.
Yeah, we're about to talk about
Lynch 1 has his pulse that puts out Brilliance tokens. That's normally a 14. Going to a 15 is a pretty, like, really nasty. And then Yoko 2's Gather Intel, going from a 13
Oh, Gather
14.
Intel is a tactical action, but it's not resisted by willpower. What?
It is resisted by willpower.
It is.
It's a TN 13 willpower duel or gain distracted.
That becomes 14.
Oh,
2-inch pulse from whatever you pushed.
Another spicy meatball.
Which, you know, if Sen's the one you're pushing, always going to be within that 6-inch thing. If it's something else, maybe you get the extra pip from Sen, but like...
Yeah, you probably
Gather Intel becomes a much meaner looking action with 14 over a 13.
Does it though?
So, yeah, a little bit.
Slightly.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
the marginal advantage is a marginally spicy meatball.
Also,
yeah.
Boring Convo on Tannen.
Sure. Yeah, it makes Boring Convo 11 instead
potentially a TN14 on Boring Convo.
Wild.
That's
okay.
a spicy meatball.
Sure. Doug, what do you think? You think Sen? And
I
also,
think she's
do you guys
good.
think I should put her above this? B sometimes higher?
Yeah, I would. I think I would probably find room for her in Lynch every time if I could.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
In Yoko, she's probably in that B tier, but in like Lynch, I think she makes the A.
I think net you put her just back of the bus on top of A, and she's like riding the absolute back of the bus.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I have 2 criticisms for this model in closing. 1, aces and eights should be draw up to 2 cards with the total value of 9, because you can't get both an ace and an 8, and that's bullshit. And secondly, this song's all about you should be called You're So Gay, and it should have a trigger called But You Don't Even Like Boys. That's what I got. Thank you.
Yeah, they couldn't do that because it was already for Pride, but I could very easily see that being something that Pride would also do. So,
yeah, fair enough. Well, look, I'm just saying. Okay. Now, let's talk the enforcer. They're both enforcers. Let's talk the other enforcer in this crew. It's Hinamatsu's brother. That's not true, but maybe it is. I don't know.
The king of the octaves.
Yeah, K.O.T.O, aka the king of the octaves. Which a K.O.T.O is a type of instrument. That's a thing. Yeah, it's like a guitar. It's the thing he's playing. Not the biwa. The
one
other
of the things.
It's the smaller one. So anywho, sorry, it's the one that's on the ground. The bigger, crazy, plucky thing is a K.O.T.O. I'll fact check that later, but I'm pretty sure I lived in Japan. I know things. Stat 6 model. 6 stone model, 6 health. Defense 4, which is garbage. Willpower 5, which is bad. Movement 5. Armor 2, which is okay. He's got good luck charms, so friendly keyword models, Honeypot and Qiangong that start within Aura 6 can discard a Pass or Brilliance token to gain a Shielded, which I don't think is going to happen a whole lot. You're super not doing a Pass token for this. Maybe a Brilliance, I don't know.
Maybe a favor.
Maybe, yeah. We have maybe a favor, right? We have Reading the Room, which is the same ability on Sen. So during the start phase, you gain a token, and then Rig the Deck 2, which is very good. We have a 6-inch stat 6 willpower attack that does 2, 3, 4 and heals K.O.T.O 1 with 2 triggers. It has Kabong, so when resolving +1 damage, and after resolving end this model's activation. So I don't know that that's good, but it's funny.
You'll use it if it's your second AP for the
turn.
Yeah,
you use it as your last action, right? And then the Light Inside, which target gains a number of Brilliance tokens. We've seen that. He's got 2 tactical actions. Nervous Energy, which is once per turn. Push this model in up to 2 unengaged friendly keyword models within range up to 2 inches in any direction, with the trigger to give out a Brilliance token and heal 1 to all the friendly models within range, which is a pretty big pulse, so that's quite good, right? And then a bonus action, Pluck the Strings, which needs a Suitless 5 to go off. Enemy models within Pulse 4 have to take a TN13 willpower duel or gain a Distracted, with 2 different mask triggers. One for enemy models within range that have 3 or more Brilliance are stunned, and this model gains a favor token. So, like, it's on a 50 mil. He's a large lad. He beats people to death with guitars of various Asian cultures. I don't think that this is good, but I'm happy to be talked into it not being bad.
So it's a 6-point model with Rig 2, which is like pretty decent, right? Most of these models in that range are Rig 1, value. Although Tannen's Rig 2. It is contextually important to note that Drain Life is against willpower, and previously the Qiangong keyword had only Charm Warders that attacked willpower and did damage, and they were 1, 2, 3 damage, right? The damage wasn't the main feature there, but here, 2, 3, 4, a bit spicier. Well, about 1 spicier, but sometimes 2 spicier.
Yeah.
So like that's contextually pretty neat. I think what you're really underrating is just that Reading the Room, the favor token, is so helpful for Qiangong.
Yeah.
That it's just like an extra plus flip whenever you want it on that important duel for the turn. Sometimes 2 important duels for the turn. So like you're going with Bill, and you need to get around Serene Countenance or whatever on the thing you need to go hit. Suddenly he just ate a favor token instead of a pass token, and like that's pretty neat. And so I don't know, like I think this model's pretty good for 6 stones. I don't think he's breaking the bank or like, changing the entire world of either of these keywords. But nervous energy for the inner glow if you've got the 6, which, rig the deck, you probably should. Pretty good for just getting that passive healing on for some of their tankier models. Like I kind of almost want to try hard to kill Illuminated again with this guy. Between getting the extra shielded on Illuminated who activates, you get regen 1, a point of shielded, and then their bonus to heal for 1 to 3. Like that can really extend the lifespan of one of those otherwise somewhat untanky boys. So like I like this guy. I think he's probably a B as opposed to an A. But like Rig 2 is just neat. And Yoko especially is not unhappy to see Rig 2. Like if you're playing Yoko 1 because you want to for some reason, you probably get a couple of crap cards.
Alright, Doug, what do you think?
I think this guy's really good passive value for 6 points. I'm actually a pretty big fan of this fellow. I really like Pluck the Strings as a fast action. I think Rig the Deck +2 on a 6-stone Enforcer is good. Armor 2 is like really annoying to punch through. He's got 6 health, armor 2. I mean, he does have 4 defense.
Armor 2 well.
Yeah, there's a ton of crews, and like he's armor 2 in a crew that doesn't feature armor, so you're probably not.
I don't
having
think I'd
armor.
go that far. There's a lot of armor in Qi and Gong.
Oh yeah, because Bill. Yeah,
Bill,
okay.
I mean, Hinamatsu literally is armor 2 in Qi and Gong.
Yeah. Okay, so they could take. Yeah. I'm wrong.
I mean, I look. I will say
in Honeypot, you're not wrong.
Yeah. At 6 stones, it is the most I will pay for a model that like has defense 4 and will just die, I guess. But the armor 2 helps. I don't know. What are we saying? Sometimes top of sometimes right now.
I think he's like a really solid sometimes higher. I like him a lot. I think this model's good for 6 stones.
Yeah, Landon.
Yeah, because I mean, nervous energy is sometimes just move 4 inches on 2 models in your unpack, and everybody else moves 2. Like that's not bad.
Sure. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's move on to the next 2 keyword combination: Last Blossom and Monk. This gentleman's name is Banying. The other guys we'll talk about are his summons. You probably aren't going to hire them, but he
literally can't.
Oh yeah, you literally can't. We did it. Like I said, you're probably not.
Do we have to make a new category for that? Not able to summon. Not able to.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, can't you?
I thought you
no, there's
could
no.
not.
I don't think it says.
Huh.
I thought it said. I thought it had the rule where you.
Then they're like Omega never hire tier, but you're right. You could hire them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can hire them. Just
you can hire them. That's funny.
You just shouldn't.
All right. So I'm just gonna start that over. All right. So next up we have Banying, who is Last Blossom and Monk. So Shenlong and Misaki. This 8 cost boyo is a henchman, which is neat, but he's 5s across the board, which makes me sad. He's got 8 health though, so that's not bad. And he's got a defense and move resistance trigger on masks called Shadow Clone, where you drop a shadow marker into base contact with this model and then place him anywhere within Aura 6, within 6 inches, basically. Which is not Aura 6, it's different, but so you can pop behind buildings and stuff. That's kind of cool. He's enlightened, so he makes and can use chi. He has harness chi, rather, so he can use the chi. He has mirrored image, so after friendly scheme or shadow markers are dropped within Aura 6, this model can pitch a card or a chi token to summon a Sunless Self, the other model in his keyword combination, into base contact with the marker and then remove the marker. Unfortunately, it's only friendly scheme, but it's fine. And then lastly, we have Satsui. After an enemy model within Aura 6 is killed, this model gains a chi token. On the back of his card, he's got a 1-inch melee that's stat 5 against defense, which is not ideal, but it can draw line of sight in range from a friendly Sunless Self, and it's a 2/4/5, which is pretty good. It's got a Crow for Mutilate, which slows or does extra damage if they're already slow. A Mask for Shell Games, which lets him place into contact with a shadow marker within Aura 6. And then a tome called Unworthy of Her Attention. Target must be an enemy model within 3 inches of a friendly shadow marker, and you draw a card and gain a pass token, which is really, really strong if you can get it to work. Then he has another attack called Darken Chi, which is stat 6 against defense. It ignores concealment, enemy only, target takes 1/3/4, then drop a shadow marker into base contact with them, which is pretty ballin'. It's got a mask for push a friendly Sunless Self in line of sight up to 4 inches, and it in any direction because it doesn't specify. And then a crow. For Shadow Pin, the target has to either have concealment or be within 3 inches of a friendly shadow marker, and it gives, when resolving, +1 damage and staggered. Lastly, he has the Ninja Vanish action as his bonus action that the Torikage have, which is target a friendly shadow or scheme marker, place into base contact with it, drop 1, and then in base contact with him, and it has a crow trigger for pulsing out staggered, which is what, like, Lucius 2's sudden appearance trigger on his teleport. Yep. I don't know. So this guy is an 8-stone henchman. That's interesting. I don't know. Landon, do I know?
I think he's pretty
Landon,
decent.
what do you know?
Is he a Masaki-able? Are you ever hiring
Masaki's a tough one because, like, you need to have the cards to actually feed this guy, and Misaki already has a lot of things that need cards. I think he's good, but it's almost weird because he's like good in the sense that he replaces Ototo out of keyword for some crews, and in keyword I don't know that he does replace Ototo. He would kind of be like a weird in addition to. I think he's definitely hireable though. Like Mutilate is a really good trigger, and you can do it from range without doing a bunch of other bullshit. So I think he's probably a like.
Well, I mean, you do have to have a Sunless Self that is in base contact with them or within an inch of them.
Yeah, after you shot them with Darken Chi, you just make a Sunless Self.
I mean, I guess.
So I don't know. I think he's pretty decent. Like a stat 8 attack at range with the Darken Chi is going to be neat. But I don't know. He's weird. He's a weird model. I think if he's gonna be A, it's not. I'm not excited about it, but like, he's got game.
He's got game.
Yeah.
He's got style. Pass to him. Oh, wow. Wait. Okay. Wait. Hold on.
I don't know if I support that, Doug.
I don't know that he has game or style. I mean, you better get some focus on him early because he's gonna need the chi to hit things.
This guy's like very hard to like look at the card and understand how he plays contextually. This model reminds me of how I originally looked at Maxine 2 when it first came out, and I was trying to understand how it plays on the tabletop, and it was hard for me to contextualize whether or not she was going to be effective without actually seeing it or playing against it or playing with it. And I feel that he's probably pretty similar. Obviously, we're about to talk about the Sunless Selves and stuff, and like they're kind of the two part of this machine. But I think the big question we need to ask ourselves is a stat 8 Darken Chi that summons a Sunless Self into contact with something relevant? Because if it is, this model's good.
I think
if it isn't,
I think even if it's not good, I'm still happy to pay the extra 2 soul stones and pretend this guy's just a Torikage that has a reasonable TN on Ninja Vanish. Because like 7s for Torikage really hurt sometimes. Whereas this guy can either do it for a 6 or if he's desperate, a 4. And I think I'm okay with that. If I'm just paying a 2 still an upcharge for the off chance that like his other abilities are good, and the fail cases he's just a expensive Torikage, like I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's why I think he's an A, but he's not an A I'm excited about.
That's the most unenthusiastic A tier.
Really? A? Really? A?
I think you're hiring him most times. At least in Misaki.
You probably
in Shenlong, I probably don't hire this guy at all.
Or like very circumstantially.
Maybe I hire him in Shenlong, but like I'm definitely less excited about it in Shenlong than I am in Misaki, and I'm like,
I feel like
I'm begrudgingly entitled to be, excited about him in Misaki because I think he's good, but not in an exciting way. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I think you take him and you're just like, he's good. I'm gonna take him, but he's not like you're not like doing backflips about it.
He's not like giving me a new game plan or changing anything I'm doing with Misaki where I'm taking him. He's just like a better Torikage.
Sure. Yeah, I mean
that you're paying 2 more points
he
for.
He is just a better Torikage. That's what he is.
That you're paying 2 more points
so
for.
because you're like not going to hire him in Shenlong and you're going to hire him in Masaki most of the time, does that? I feel like that averages out to a B.
I think it averages out to an A just because you're going to see him out of keyword enough to just make shadow markers for Minako.
All right,
that he probably ends up there.
Let's talk about the Sunless Selves then, the models he summons. So, technically you can hire these. They're 2 soulstones a pop. They're minion 3, Last Blossom Monk minions. Defense 5, willpower 3, 5 movement. They have no health. They're insignificant. They don't have health. Living Shadow says they don't have health. They can't take damage. At the end of this model's activation, drop a shadow marker in base contact with it, then it's killed. So if you do hire them, they die on the first activation. I don't know, like maybe in some weird circumstances. I can't think of a reason, but maybe you would hire one.
So you just want to hire 2 shadow markers for 6 points instead of hiring Banying for 9? That would be it.
You mean 2 points? What? For 4 points?
Because you'd be doing it out of keyword to just.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you want to hire a shadow marker for 3 points, I guess.
Just to give fuel to Minako.
So I guess. Yeah, you could do it with Minako if you were hiring
like
her.
Super budget, I want to run Minako and summon 2 Katashiro, but I don't want to pay 9 points for someone who makes shadows. Like,
I mean,
for some reason, you literally cannot afford 3 stones or your family will starve.
That's probably never going to happen, but nonetheless, they're mindless, so when they're summoned, they don't get to activate. They're Shadowy Reflection, which means friendly models treat them as a destructible concealing shadow marker, but if they would be removed, they die, and they have Slip By, so they can move through other models, and vice versa. They're never considered engaged, and they have no engagement range. So they're basically shittier Castor's totems. That's what they do. They have a stat 4 attack that does 1, 2, 3 damage with reposition, and they have a tactical action called Wreathed in Shadow, which pulses for 3 inches out to push all friendly shadow markers up to 3 inches in any direction. Which I just don't think is really going to happen very frequently. Theoretically, also it has a ram trigger to heal friendly models within range 1 for 1. Within range or pulse 3 for 1. Like, you're never going to hire this model, right? That's what
Absolutely
we're doing. That's not going to happen, I guess. But you're going to play them for sure, because if you're playing Banying, you're going to summon them all the time. But you're never, that's not real.
I think that rewards itself with a D. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They are good for painting. They're cool shadowy boys. Do yourself a favor, get a bunch of Musu Black, and then make them difficult for your opponents to look at so that they like have a mental breakdown, right? that's my strong advice. The problem is I think it's like $40 a bottle, but the new Stuart Semple Black 4.0 is like $50, and I kind of want some, but I don't want to pay $50. So that's where we're at.
Do you not just prime it and then soak it in Nuln Oil for like a couple days and then, just drag it out?
No, Nuln Oil doesn't.
That's not how hobbying works,
Nuln
Landon.
Oil doesn't
God
get
damn
darker.
it. God damn it, Landon.
It's not like evil magic where it just steeps and focuses up in the model.
Brandon says that like he is a very accustomed to evil magic.
Evil magic would do that. If you got a bottle of evil magic laying around that you're not using, firstly, help a guy out, send us your evil magic bottles, right? But if you got a spare bottle, and you don't want to send it to us for some reason, because you've already sent us one to our P.O. box, which you can find in the description, soak your Banyings in it or whatever. Look, man, I'm not your dad.
Soak your Banyings. All right. Story of Suzaku.
Story of Suzaku. 8 stone. 5 on the stats, 6 on movement, 8 health. Bird enforcer for Oni and Story. Oni, of course, is Asami's keyword. Story is Ling Li's keyword. So it has Flame Board. No damage from burning. Flaming Body. When it takes damage, it can reduce burning by 2 to take less damage. It has Flight. It has Well Versed, so it can look at the top card of its Fate deck, and may discard it once a turn. And then lastly, it has Heated Words. So enemy models treat friendly ski markers with an aura 6 as hazardous burning 1 terrain, which is kind of neat. Now, the spicy bits. It has a stat 3 Up We Go, which is a 2-inch attack that can't hit models with Flight, so don't try an Up We Go Titania. That's happened to me.
This is one of Sam's favorite attacks in all of Malifaux.
Yes, you might know it from Zip or from, I don't know, possibly another model. But place the target anywhere within 3 inches of its current position, and then the target takes 2, 3, 4. A 3-inch displacement is really strong, especially if it's a larger model. But the two triggers on this are the built-in one for Tome, which is the model, this model, like as in the story of Suzaku, gains 1 burning for each tome in the total, so it's always going to gain 1, but it might gain more if you flipped or cheated in a tome. And then it also has a ram trigger to reduce the value of the target's burning by 1 to make them suffer 1 damage, which counts as damage from burning. Conflagration, which is a stat 8, which is an 8-inch stat 6 defense attack that ignores models with burning for the purposes of friendly fire to do a 2-3-5, and models damage gain a burning, but it doesn't have any way to blast, so it's just going to hit the 1. And it's got a tome trigger for blaze to give more burning, and it has 2 separate bonus actions. It has an action that just happens, which is move this model and other models within range, which is a +3 up to 1 inch, which is interesting. I think is that on Yasunori? Is that his thing?
What model are you talking about?
Doesn't Yasunori have that? The Wind's Wrath? I don't know.
I don't know what model you mean, Brandon.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Yeah, Yasunori's not real. I forgot. And then lastly, he has Wind Up Bird, which is you need a 5 for it to go off. Friendly only. Discard a flicker token from target or end a condition on the target as a requirement for it to go off, and then give them 2 burning. Which is possibly very good in Asami, because you want to remove your flicker tokens from models because it will stop them from dying. I don't know that the timing on when you do it during this model's activation makes that not really function, because usually you're running hot going over and then you die at the end of your activation. But
it totally works because you summon in with 2. So.
Yeah, so for the Asami summons, for sure that works out. I don't know. Story of Suzaku. What are we thinking?
I'm pretty high on
like it. Yeah,
I think it's like an A. Up we go. Is
I think this model's great. I like this model a lot. I'm Burkfarnian.
Yeah,
man,
up we go.
Why
really
do I
good.
just hate 10 Thunders?
Pulling off burning is really good. It like the back of its card is literally just Kairos 1, which is like master level AP here.
Sure. Yeah.
And also the wind up bird as a fast action is deceptively good in both of its crews, because it's interacting, it's doing good stuff with flicker tokens, or it's ending slow conditions that you've put onto your red library models for value, and then it turns it into value for this burb boy. So like, it's a very deceptive but very powerful fast action, on top of a model that has 6 inches of flight with one of my favorite melee attacks in the game as well. Not just Sam's. I like it. I think it's great. Stat 3 is really, really spicy. And then when Conflagration is good, you'll use it, but he's probably just flying around up we go in people most of the time and getting good value for Wind Up Bird in my mind. And that's like really good.
Yeah.
I think
certain you can out a keyword this model for like guard the stash or other stuff where you just want to like unresisted move your opponent's models around.
Yeah.
Sure.
I like this boyo.
Yeah. Yeah, Wind's Wrath just says this model and other models, not just opponents. That's wild.
Yeah, your models, their models, everyone's models.
Yeah, it's almost like there were another model that has this. I will say, Upweo is very good. I do like the fact that it is actually just Kairos 1. Like, at the top half of its
literally
card
Kairos 1.
But better because it's a burb. It's a burb. It's burb Kairos.
Cut to the meme that I'm going to edit into this video where corporate needs you to tell us the difference between these two
pictures.
And
please do. Do that.
Yeah, I'm going to make that.
If that's not on here, we're going to be very sorely disappointed.
It definitely is. It's going to be up for this whole little bit. Man, what a time. And then, yeah, all right. So where are we putting Suzaku? I'll sometimes, or
he's a
no, 100%.
He's an A, absolutely.
Like I think both of the crews use this because it's also another story, so all the story synergies go on with it.
This burb is superb.
I don't think there's any way.
This is a superb burb.
But if you say so, it's another 8-point model, and there's already like 4 other models that are like 30 points that you're always hiring. But
it's a superb burb, Brandon.
All right,
you're just gonna have to deal with it.
I'll be overruled, I guess, but I'm not super hot on this. I do like Up We Go; it's really good, but I don't know. This I feel like this is just a worse version of Kairos 2. I mean, of Kairos 1.
He's a superb burb.
Yeah, he's not even a master. All right, and then lastly, we have the 10 cost enforcer for 10 Thunders. Zheng is a 10 cost lion boy. He's got some weird ears. He's got 10 health. He is defense and willpower 5, which sucks, but movement 7 and size 3, which makes him easier to hit, but very fast. He's a fast boy. He's got exploit vulnerability, so once per activation, after this model resolves an attack action that damaged an enemy model, a friendly model within line of sight of this model may discard a card to interact, which is weird. He's got, after this model is targeted by an enemy attack action, the enemy model must either discard a card or this model may use its move to resist the action instead, which is something else has that, right?
The other cat in 10 Thunders.
The new one. Right. And then he's unimpeded and warning growl, so damage flips against friendly models within Aura 2 are just at a flat negative, which means damage flips against him are at a flat negative. Other friendly models. No, him as well. He's always
him
hard,
as well.
So he's hard to wound, which makes him a little bit more survivable. I guess hard to wound models do have to have defense 5. He has a 1-inch Savage Bite, which is a 3/4/5, which is great. Stat 6, which is good. And it's got Mutilate, Pouncing Strike, and Worthy Opponent. Worthy Opponent is draw a card, and if you don't kill it, you have to discard. Pouncing Strike is place within 5 in line of sight, and take this action again, targeting the model that you placed in base contact with. So, that's pretty good. Intimidating Roar is really good. Push the target 6 inches away from this model, and if it's a minion, it gains slow. But he has a trigger for the target to take a damage and push 3 inches in any direction afterwards. So you could, 6 inches away, 3 inches towards something. That's a lot of pushing. And then his bonus action, which goes off on a 5, target enemy model, ignoring range, move this model up to its move in inches towards the target. And then you may, on a ram, sudden strike to take a melee, which is cool. And certainly it is a thing that you could do to interact, stalk prey interact, theoretically. So I don't know. This guy seems good. 10 stone's good? I don't think so. Landon, tell me I'm wrong.
So I need you to get back. The corporate needs you to tell me the difference between these two pictures again, because this looks like Shadow Emissary to me, but with triggers on its card. It's a 10 soulstone model that ignores terrain when it moves and has Savage Bite.
Amazing.
We did it. I think it's better than Shadow Emissary, but I already wasn't hiring Shadow Emissary, and I don't think it's that much better than Shadow Emissary. Yeah. Stalk Prey's pretty good, but was I looking for a 10 Soulstone beater in 10 Thunders before? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Warning Growl's pretty sick, but I don't know if it's sick enough to make me excited to play this model.
I mean, Warden Growl with an extra 3 inches is really good. I like that a lot. I just think that one, it's an enforcer, so you're not gonna, you can't just stone it. I don't know.
Here's what I would say. If I'd had a very small 10 Thunders collection, I would want to own Zheng. If I had access to every 10 Thunders model in the game, I wouldn't care about Zheng. I think it's really easy to just plop this guy down and put him into your list for 10 points and not be upset about it, right? I did that a lot with Shadow Emissary when I was first collecting, and it was just fine, right? And I feel like he kind of fits that weird same spot that versatiles kind of are good for, where he's not the best choice, but he might be the second or third best choice.
Sure. Yeah, I will say his exploit vulnerability is a lot better than Kara's, right? Because it's stat 7 instead of stat 6, and he's hard to wound, unlike Kara, who's not.
Yeah, the feline reflexes, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just jam this guy in and then make them, either waste cards discarding to make you not stat 7 on defense, or have them swing into stat 7 defense, and that's going to be pretty solid a good amount of the time. And if you have cards to discard for exploit vulnerability, just having random trash game markers is good this GG. So it's just the interact action. So if you're playing ballots or something, you're usually going to be able to get value out of that if you have the card to spare. I think he's decent B tier. I don't think he makes it close to A tier. I'm not super excited about him, but his kit's not terrible.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Doug, what do you think?
I think he's a solidly decent beater, but he's just kind of a little bit expensive, and he's in a faction that has all these different. It's what Landon said, right? He's in a faction that isn't hard up for models to be beaters and damages, damage dealing models, right? That's kind of what 10 Thunders does in a variety of ways and shapes and forms. So it's kind of it's hard to find 10 Soulstones just floating around to slot him in.
Yeah.
But if you use him effectively, I mean, he's got his stock prey, if you budget for it, is a very solid 2 AP fast action. Right? So that's pretty good. I mean, he's a, you know, that's 2 AP plus 2 primary APs, kind of like a 4 AP beater that has hard to wound and gives off hard to wound. Like, imagine if you put him in a Alpha Strike list alongside Hinamatsu, Bill Algren, and him, and they all ran up the middle, and he gave everyone hard to wound, and he just punched people. That'd be cool, but probably not like the best formulation of a list, obviously, for like scoring points.
That's actually
but,
exactly
like, those are
where
the...
I thought of this guy when I was first looking at it. I was like, would
right?
I like this?
Can you
like,
imagine?
Warning Growl on those 2 models is really good.
Can you imagine that, Landon? What sicko does that? Someone on the internet, please do that and tell us about it. We want to hear about it. Hire the Yoko punch you in the balls list, and it's Hinamatsu, Bill Algren, Zheng, like a couple of Konoichi, and like just run at someone and try to eviscerate them into a blender and let us know how it goes. Comment below. Hashtag.
I will say I am annoyed that they've made the first intimidating roar model where I actually have to check what I flip when I'm intimidating roaring my own guys, because I'm gonna want to take the mask trigger.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah, I mean,
and he has like a solid attack. Like, his attack is really solid, good statted. He has unimpeded. So a big problem with these models is like he's a 50 mil, so getting him caught up and stuff or having problems. But he's unimpeded, so he's gonna get where he's going most of the time, and his threat range is huge. So
yeah, he's
good, just expensive.
He's just a model that has a lot of stuff going on that, like, he answers a bunch of questions that no 10 Thunders player was asking.
Like, Intimidating Roar is really neat for unpacks. I tried it with, like, McCabe recently hiring the Tiger, and, like, for 2 stones, would I have hired Zheng instead? Maybe.
Yeah.
Trails off.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I guess that concludes 10 Thunders for Ashes of Malifaux.
We did it,
right?
5 bottles.
There's only 6 models ish, and I have a lot more questions than I did before we started. They all seem neat. I don't know that I personally would ever hire any of them in Rezzers.
In Rezzers?
I think I wouldn't. But I will tell you that 10 Thunders is absolutely going to lose the everyone's playing and we're making 50 Soulstone crews out of just models that are released for your faction in Ashes of Malifaux, because they don't get to do anything.
Yeah, but they've got a
look. We could hire how many Sunless Selves?
You have to hire all 3, and then you still don't have 50.
Brandon, if you thought 6 steam arachnids in a trench coat was spicy, wait till you see season 2. What Landon and I have cooked up, we have 10 Sunless Selves in 2 trench coats.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Stop the presses.
I don't know what to do about that, but this has been the Danger Planet. I've been Brandon. This has been Doug and Landon, and you know,
we're sorry.
I don't know. Wyrd's really exploited a vulnerability in me.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right, don't get wreathed in shadow. Bye. Okay. This is weird.